Welcome. Today we are going to be talking about procrastination. So welcome to our coffee cup chats. I do not have coffee today. I have Diet Dr. Pepper. But like I said, it says in the title, we're going to be discussing procrastination because I woke up completely. Motivation is not something that you're just going to suddenly find. You have to push yourself into it. And so, I'll back you up a little bit. And so these are some tools that I use just to kind of help me when I feel completely unsettled and unmotivated and unfocused. The top of my head is cut off again. Hey, Wendy, how are you? And I am finding myself unprepared. So let me grab something to make myself taller. Okay. I'm so professional. And I know that's why you watch me, right? Because of the professional, high quality content that you get on here that's always curated to make me appear at my most together. Just kidding. Okay. You're probably going to sink down in this basket of books that I have you shoved into. So like I said, if you're just hopping on, we're going to talk about procrastination. And, you know, I recently had someone ask, like, how do you find motivation? And it's less about motivation and more about habits, right? If we constantly seek motivation, whatever it is that's motivating us, eventually will be unmotivating, right? Just like the effects of caffeine aren't as intense as they were when you first started drinking coffee. You build up a tolerance. Well, you build up a tolerance to motivation. And so it's more about habits. I woke up at 1:30 with a lot of energy, read some Bible and prayed and went back to bed, then woke up super tired. Oh no. Oh, baby, you're pregnant. She says she has a 1-year-old and 24 weeks pregnant. That's pregnant. That's why you're tired. That's okay. I keep doing the same bad habits. I can't stop hitting snooze. I know it's stupid, but this causes me to run behind each morning and causes me a ton of stress. Why can't I fix this? Well, let's get into that, okay? So let's talk about what procrastination is and what procrastination isn't. Watching this while I procrastinate working out. Sandy, watch this while you go for a walk around your house. Procrastination is not the same thing as laziness. So let's unpack that for a second, because I'm a chronic procrastinator and it made me feel like, oh, I'm so lazy. But when I take stock of who I am and what I do and what I know about myself, well, I know I'm not lazy. I am lazy about some things, but I'm not an overall lazy person. Procrastination is choosing something else, whereas laziness is just a general apathy. And I've taken notes as always, so if you see me looking down, that's why. But that's the difference. Procrastination isn't necessarily because you're apathetic about something. It's because there may be negative feelings around what you're doing. Somebody just mentioned that it's hitting that snooze button over and over again and not wanting to get up and go to work. And it may be because you have negative feelings around your job or around your commute or maybe even around your morning routine. Hi, Laura, welcome. So one of the things that we need to realize is why we're procrastinating. And a few years ago, I read this article, and I will try to link it after the live is over. But I read it in, I think it was the New York Times. And if you Google why we procrastinate, it's one of the first things that pops up. But it was a psychological study delving into why we procrastinate. And it said that, you know, people engage in an irrational cycle of chronic procrastination because of an inability to manage negative moods around the task. And when I read that, it was like ding, 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 ding. It was like hitting the jackpot on a slot machine. it made sense, because oftentimes there are things that I know I need to do, but I can't pull the lever on it because of the mental block. The thing, there's something about this activity that it's not that I don't want to do it, it's that it makes me feel off or exhausted or mentally and physically drained. The article also talks about how procrastination is a form of self-harm. And that was also not a way that I looked at it, but I feel like so many of us are guilty of self-sabotaging, and this is just a way that we self-sabotage. And so the first thing that I do when I find that procrastination coming up, and that was the issue that I was having this morning, I have so many things on my to-do list, excuse me. I have so many things on my to-do list today, and some of them are things that I look forward to doing. They're part of our weekly routine, and some of them are things that, even though they are part of my weekly routine, I dread doing them every single week. And, you know, if you don't know me, my name is Lydia, and I make videos on frugal and simple living, and I run a business out of my home. I'm self-employed, and I have 4 children, and I homeschool 2 of them. And I like the life that I have set up for myself. But if I don't have those good routines in place, nothing will get done. And I talked about that a minute ago, that it's not so much motivation, it's routines. And I'm not perfect at it by any means. But on Fridays, I take my kids to a community day. So we're a part of a homeschool community that meets and actually does school together once a week. I teach for 3 hours every Friday. It's a position that I get paid for because it's like a formally set up thing. And I have to take this big board with me with everything written on it that we're going to do that day, because it's a lot of memorization. There's a lot of hands-on science. There's art. This is not my first year tutoring, but every Thursday I put off writing on that board to the very last minute. And I have had to come up with different methods and different ways. Like at first I was like, the board is too tall, and I'm only 5'1", 5'2". So maybe that's part of it. Like I'm having trouble with the board being so tall. Or maybe the board's just too heavy. So I'm going to write everything down on paper and just tape it to the board. And then I switch to a foam board because that's lighter. And then I realized it's not the freaking board at all. I just don't want to be there. And like once I said that out loud to my husband, I completely broke down crying. I can't believe I'm saying this. Like I've committed to doing this. I've committed to my children. There's money involved. Like I can't believe that I'm saying out loud, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be there. Because one thing about me is I'm not a quitter. If I have committed to doing something, particularly in regards to my children, I'm going to do that thing. But I had to ask myself, why? Why don't I want to be there? And there were a lot of reasons. One was all of our friends didn't come back this year because of COVID. 2, it's changed. There are different protocols in place. 3, I don't feel like I fit in with this group. 4, I don't feel like I necessarily like the way that the material is written this year. You know, there are lots of reasons I just haven't liked going. And so I had to ask myself, what can I do to make myself feel better about these things? And so yesterday I talked to the director, and we talked some things out because I just kind of wanted to go to the source and figure out some things that I could do to make it better. And I felt much better after that phone call. Now that doesn't mean that all the issues have gone away and all the problems are solved, but I now know why I was feeling this way, why these negative feelings were popping up. So someone said, I procrastinate on everything. I feel like this is the year I get my crap together. I have no excuses. I've already made a plan and broken it into small goals. Yes, and the small goals are definitely something that we're going to get into in a second. But one of the things when I broke down, okay, why am I procrastinating? What is it about what I'm doing right now that makes me just not want to be here? Lisa says, I never caught a live. I feel like I won something. Thank you. You are the prize, Lisa. You being here is the prize. Progress, not perfection. Exactly, Kristen. And so sometimes we have to change that perspective. Like, why am I putting this task off? What can I do to make this task more palatable? Maybe done more quickly? Like, how do I flip the scenario when it comes to what I'm putting off? And so one of the things that I think about is I am the opener and the closer. So oftentimes it's just me and my children. Here, my husband travels for work a lot. He's home right now. Not he's at work, but he's been home these past few weeks and it's been fantastic. But he leaves early in the morning, and when my kids wake up, it's just me here, and I have to do things at night when I'm the closing manager to make my life as the opening manager a little bit easier. And so it's things like making sure I've done the dishes, making sure we have clothes to wear, and that diaper bags are packed, and that school stuff is put together, and just those little tasks that make the next day better. And so that's what I'm having to remind myself when I procrastinate. Somebody's going to have to pay the consequences of my actions, and those consequences are the opening manager, and the opening manager is me. And so what can I do to make her life easier tomorrow? And so that is kind of a psychological thing that I've had to get into is, okay, how do I love myself tomorrow? How do I make my life easier tomorrow? Do it for your future self helps me too. I love it. That totally sets up the next day for success and peace. And then I love this quote. Someone just said, procrastination is the art of avoiding truths and things that we aren't prepared to face. Yes, absolutely. Procrastination is the art of avoiding truths and things we aren't prepared to face. Please, someone write that down and email it to me later so I can remember that, because that's really good. What you said from that article is really eye-opening. I freelance full-time and I have my own beauty business. I love my clients and I love my business, even though it's hard. And when that alarm goes off, it's hard to get up and to get going. I know I am not one to let the alarm keep ringing, but there are things that I put off and put off and put off. I keep asking myself why I have lost motivation in things I once had motivation for, things that are still top priorities for me. I know. Well, sometimes when things are new, you have more motivation because it's new. When we first moved to this house 6 years ago, I steamed cleaned the floors of our kitchen every single night. And now I do it maybe once a month because it was shiny and new. It's still important to me to not have sticky floors, but I just don't have that motivation anymore to continue to steam clean. There's a great book on procrastination and how it can benefit you called Wait, The Art of Science of Delay by Frank. Yeah, I've read some articles by him. Okay, so let's move on to start now. So I do a lot of freelance work and I make videos for other people, just like the videos you see here on YouTube. Sometimes I make them for other people. And sometimes those deadlines are a month out. I'm sorry, my baby's crying. Okay, we're struggling with night terrors, and sometimes those happen during rest time, and there'll be a random cry out, and I never know what to do about she's my fourth baby, but still something about those night terrors just get to you. She's fine. It was just a short little cry. Sorry about that. But anyway, when I work, sometimes those deadlines are a month out, and in my brain I'm I got a month. And then 3 days before it's due, I'm oh crap, I gotta go here and get footage that this client needed so that I can complete my assignment. And so one of the things that I've started doing is plotting out when the work needs to be done and breaking it up into chunks. I don't have that with me right now, or I would show it to you. But one of the things that I do is, so like this is a weekly, let me actually show you my planner. This is my weekly spread. I'm gonna find a blank one so that no one comes and kidnaps me. So this is a blank weekly spread. So what I'll do is if I have a task that's due like a month from this Saturday, I will break it out in weekly chunks, and then I make myself a schedule, and then I'll take a sticky note and I'll cut it into strips and stick the sticky note of those prioritized activities onto my weekly spread, so that as times open up in my day, I can take a sticky note off. That's the task I need to do. I do it, and it's broken up into little chunks. That's just a little tool that was given to me growing up, and I still do it. Another thing that helps me is the 2-minute rule. So if you have something that needs to be done and it takes 2 minutes or less, and you have 2 minutes to do it right now. Don't put it off until later. Go ahead and do it. If it's unloading one rack of the dishwasher, if it's picking up all the shoes off the floor, if it's brushing your hair and putting on lipstick, if there's a task that you need to do and it takes 2 minutes or less, go ahead and do it. And it crosses all those like administrative tasks off. So if I have to return an email, I'm gonna go ahead and do it while everyone is happy. I'm not gonna put it off. I have a lot of administrative tasks that I have to do to keep a business running. I hate every single one of them. I like the fun creative parts. I do not like the administrative parts, so I go ahead and do them. And then my last tip that really helps is to set a timer. And for just 20 minutes work, you set that timer, you work for a full and complete 20 minutes. When it stops, get up, walk around, get some water, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do, and then set the timer and start again. And so really, like, you can also work towards a reward if you've got something waiting on you or something fun that you want to do. Set that timer, work, and then reward. Okay, do you have any questions? I hate all the admin stuff too. It's a bummer. It's a bummer, and that's it. I love the 2-minute rule, especially since recovery from surgery. The tasks take 2 minutes, but I really don't want to get up. Yeah, well, those 2-minute tasks add up, and when you have a ton of them, they take up a ton of time. But if you go ahead and just do them right now while they're in the forefront of your brain, it's almost like getting a little vacation later on in the day. I need to rewatch this and read that article. Ask yourself those questions. And it's really a lot of, like, there's a lot of introspection. Is that a word? Involved. A lot of really like talking to yourself about it. Lots of times the hardest part is just starting. Exactly. And I think that sometimes we feel like we need to set the table, you know, like we need to light the candles and put out the good china and make sure everything's perfect before we start. But that's not true. We just have to take that one small step and get started. Do you publicize when you go live? I caught the last two. I just put it on Instagram. I've been trying to stick to a Tuesday, Thursday upload schedule, but I didn't have anything this week to upload, so I thought I'd go live. I have found that walking an hour a day, even when I don't feel like it, has helped increase my energy and motivation to do more things and avoid procrastination. I love it. And that's like the messy counter theory that I have. When I wake up in the morning and my countertop is covered in crap, I'm starting my day on a deficit. Like, ugh, one more thing to have to do. But if I start off the day and that counter is clean, it's something that is already mentally crossed off my list, and I can just go about my day. I keep procrastinating because I need a block of time to do deep work, and I can't seem to find it. And that's hard, particularly in this time when maybe you're having to school at home or all of those things. My counters are always covered in crap. It's true. Yes, exactly. She said that causes stress and anxiety. If done, we're already walking into peace. When you walk into a messy room, it's sometimes hard. And I'm not saying my house isn't messy. Remember last week when I showed you what this area around me looks like? It still looks like that today. Am I the only one who procrastinates getting ready in the morning, getting washed, dressed, makeup, and hair, or am I being plain lazy? Laura, you're busy. You're not lazy, you're busy. You have other things to do. The admin part of my work is my least favorite. I made a ton of prettiness in my spreadsheets and other things to motivate me. There you go. It's finding those little tricks that work for you. I bought my first planner after watching the live where you mentioned yours. Yes, and I have that planner that I messed up and I need to send it to someone. But yes, this is my planner that I like live and die with. And this is my planner that my friend Lori sent me that I use to write notes all over. But there's something about it that I like. So anyway. Okay, y'all. Well, thank you for being here. I'm going to wrap it up. I hope these tips have helped you. Sleep makes a huge difference for me. If I get enough sleep, I have more bandwidth to tackle things I procrastinate. Yep. I'm okay starting, but getting pulled away and sidetracked constantly. I know. I understand. Trying to work while schooling children has been a learning curve for me because I started my business before my kids were in school. And I thought, oh, it'll be an easy transition. And it's not always been easy. And every time we add a new kid to the mix, it's more to learn. And so that's where we are. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. This has been awesome. I'll see, she's making noise again, so I'm going to go in there and grab my baby and love on her. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I hope these tips help. Leave me a comment and let me know how you are doing. I appreciate you being here. Things are, life is hard. And maybe we can all be encouraging to one another in our actions and in our deeds and in our words. And y'all are certainly encouraging to me. So I will see you soon. Have a good day.